Okay, now we have got our final speaker. We are going to have an open mic afterwards, but this is the final speaker of the day, and that is the one and only our Kimberley Isherwood. Woo!
Hello, everyone. I never know what I'm going to say. I never, ever know what I'm going to say. I look at what everyone else is saying and I think, what can I fit in with that? So I'm just going to pick up on a few things other people mentioned. So I'm going to talk a lot about the safeguarding and institutional abuse, I think. So you'll hear a lot about this education is to safeguard your children. Your children need to know correct terminology for their genitalia in case they've been abused, so they can disclose that abuse. Well, there's a lot of problems with disclosure. Disclosure, before a child can even speak about abuse, a lot happens beforehand. Adults should be safeguarding those children. As adults, we should be picking up on behaviors of these children. And that is what you call a non-verbal disclosure. So let's talk about the self-stimulation piece that Azar was just talking about. The All About Me package, self-stimulation. It's telling children from age 4 to 6 it's okay to touch yourself. Well, yeah, it is okay. Some children do it, some children don't. But this particular piece of lesson content has told all children they can do it. It's told all children they can do it, but it's rude to do it in the class. They really shouldn't do it in the class when everyone is watching. Well, people in that class should be watching those children. People in that class should be looking out for this behavior in those children. We don't know if that child is doing it innocently. We don't know if that child has a medical condition, and we don't know if that child has been harmed. So why on earth have we programmed every 4 to 6-year-old child away from what we call a non-verbal disclosure? That's from age 4. Let's talk about correct terminology, shall we? You challenge it. You challenge every teacher. You challenge the NSPCC. You challenge the Department for Education. Because I'll tell you what, we have. We've challenged them. Derek Thomas MP emailed me asking about correct terminology. Because I am telling you it does not safeguard. It only safeguards if only your child knows it. You can't safeguard a child by blanket teaching a password for their genitalia. You're giving that password to every single predator out there. Correct terminology. Where is the evidence? I'll tell you what the evidence is. The evidence is in every single offender narrative out there. They will tell you that when a child can discuss, engage confidently about their genitalia, that is seen as consent. So why on earth are we equipping children to discuss their genitalia with strangers? A teacher is a stranger. So we've asked the NSPCC for the evidence for this. Where is your evidence? You are saying schools are places of safeguarding. You are saying correct terminology safeguards. Where is the evidence? We still haven't got it. Brooke, where is the evidence? We still haven't got it. Derek Thomas asked me, where is the evidence? I told him straight, in PI policies. Paedophile information exchange policies. That's where the evidence is. And you know what he said? Be careful what you write in these emails because they get filtered. Yeah, we know they get filtered. Because PI never went away. PI never ever went away. They just dissolved into different parties. They are writing the policies for your children. If there was a school called the Academy of Savile, would you send your children? No. Yes, you would have. Yes, you would have. Years ago, you would have, because he was protected. Nobody knew. He was writing books on stranger danger. That is the power they have high up. So you tell me, what makes these schools not Academy of Savile? Show me these schools are not academies of Savile. Prove it to me. You can't. Do you know why? Because I study them. I want a freedom of information request. I want to look at how many sexual assaults and rapes have taken place in my area. Over 500 in 2 years in school grounds. Where's the convictions? There's not 500 convictions. That's just one police force, mind. They are protected. They are protected, and they will tell you this safeguards your children. Where is the evidence? The Department for Education, I said to Derek Thomas, well, instead of you providing the evidence it doesn't safeguard, why don't you ask them to prove it does? So he did. And do you know what they did? Absolutely nothing. They said there's an inquiry taking place, so we don't have to discuss it now. There is no evidence. If they say this grass is blue, does it become blue? No. So just because they're saying something safeguards, you're going to take that? You're going to blindly trust? You blindly trust, and you failed your child. You blindly trust no one. And you certainly do not blindly trust the institution. The UK is famous for one thing: the sexual abuse and rape of our children in care homes, schools, religious establishments, sports groups, and nothing happens. Where are the convictions? An independent inquiry into child sex abuse, a report was published 2 years ago. A 7-year-long study into our schools. That report claims sex abuse in our schools is, and I quote, an open secret. With over 43% of children who are being abused, they're aware of it happening to other children in your kids' schools. This is what's going on. You don't hear about it though, do you? Nobody hears about it. Do you know why? He wouldn't do that. She wouldn't do that. These are people of good character. They've been DBS checked. That's just a naughty kid lying. This is the reality of what goes on. Great Britain is only great at raping children. Yeah. Prove me wrong. Yeah. Prove me wrong. Show me the convictions from the care homes. Show me the convictions from the teachers. Show me the convictions from the religious establishments. They are non-existent. Non-existent. That inquiry that they've done into RSE, they did have a criminologist on it. But I'm sorry, I'm not impressed for anyone who's worked for an organisation that's given Pi £30,000. Yeah. This is it, see, guys. We ask questions. We challenge everything. You challenge everything. Putting condoms on a life-size dildo at the age of 12 in a class. The only way you can prove to me nobody's getting gratification out of that is if you can wire somebody's brain up and I can read it. I will never be convinced. I will never be convinced until this country can protect its children. It's never protected its children. Tens of thousands of children being sold. Hundreds of files on paedophiles in there lost. And what happens? Promotion. Prime Minister. That's what happens. You get high places when you protect the lowlives in this country. Oh, they protected Savile. Of course they did. That's what I mean. You all said you wouldn't let your kid do a Savile school. Back then you would have. Back then you would have. Because he was a charitable man, doing good things, a person of good character. The biggest crooks in this country are wearing a shirt and tie. Prove me wrong. This report has been published, but it's secret. Why is it secret? Have a look at our court case. It's all been proven as fact. You know why it's all secret. Because groomers like to keep secrets. Only a groomer tells a child to keep a secret from his parents. Only a groomer will say what happens here stays here. So why are teachers doing it? Why are teachers delivering these lessons? Why are teachers teaching our children about masturbation from age 4? They claim it's safeguards. So you bring one teacher here and you show me a teacher who's been trained on institutional child sex abuse. I'll wait. I'll turn to dust before you show me one. They do not know it exists. So how, if these schools are places of safeguarding, how can they be protecting children from child sex abuse if they know nothing about child sex abuse? How can you do it? When you want to protect your car from a car thief, you think like a car thief. You protect your house from a burglar, you think like a burglar. So why on earth have we got a nation here claiming to protect children from paedophiles, and we're not even researching the mind of a paedophile? We're not teaching people about the mind of a paedophile. We're not teaching people about the behaviours and explanations of abuse. That's the most important training every single person can have. And that's the training we are going to deliver. When I last stood here, we were waiting for the results of the court. We were waiting to see if we were going to have our appeal. And I said to you, if we didn't get it, we go into that court over there, didn't I? Well, we didn't get it. And we're not going to that court over there. Do you know why? They've had over £100,000 off us anyway. But it hasn't been in vain. Because we've created case law. And that case law is absolute gold dust. The High Court says this needs to be appropriate for each child. So you need to make sure that each child in your family has a risk assessment. This, they claim, it can't infringe on your religious and philosophical beliefs. So you challenge them. You stand your ground. You stand in your religious and philosophical beliefs. Because gender-critical views are also protected philosophical beliefs. What we are doing, we are not giving them any more money. We've done it. We've proven the courts are corrupt. We've proven the government is corrupt. We know nobody's going to protect our children, only us. So, who is the children's first line of defense? The parents. So this is the moment where we train you. We train you how to advocate for yourselves. We train you on your rights and responsibilities. And most important of all, we teach you how to safeguard your children from the institutions, which are schools. And we start this training from birth. We start this training with new mums in the communities. We don't charge for this. This should be public knowledge. I've spent 12 years in academia, over £50,000 student debt, to know something every single person here should know. We should all know how to protect our children. So you tell me why the likes of Peter Tatchell or the likes of any teacher out there, Professor Emma Reynolds and the queer theorists, who support engaging in activities with children, nothing's out of bounds, this is in their work. You tell me why they have a say and we don't. I'll tell you why. Because they are the human disgrace. That is why. But guys, it's the end of the road for them. This is the beginning of the end. Do you know why? They're not messing in there now. They're not arguing in there with their friends and their posh clothes and their suits and everything else. They've messed with the real people now. They've messed with the ones that own nothing and are happy. They've messed with the ones who have been screwed by the system, been chewed up by the system, and come out the other side laughing. We are the kids from the street. We are the nobodies, but we are the ones that's going to change this. Do you know why? Nobody at the top has ever changed anything at the top. Not even a new political party. Not once. Look in history. But us on the ground, as people, everyday people, when we start, we have 100% success every single time. And this is absolutely no different. This is an attack on every single human being, whether you are a parent or not. This is the death of innocence. Do you want to live in a world with no innocence? Well, you get out there. You inform everybody what's going on. You inform of these legislative changes. This is global. This is not the Tories. This is not Labour in Wales. It's not SNP in Scotland. This comes from higher up. And we have proven this in the High Court. The Welsh Government barristers could not argue. They could not point what was misinformation. They couldn't bring a stitch of our statements out and counteract any of it. We have proven this as fact. There's nowhere else to go. Only us on the ground, we fight together. We've played their game. We've done the democratic process. We've gone down the courts. We've proven they're corrupt. Now it's time to act. Simple as that. Well, I'm going to leave it at that now, guys, but what I'm going to say is subscribe to our website. We are going to educate you all to stand up for yourselves. And when you can stand up for yourselves, you can stand up for the person next to you and stand with us. Because we do not need a leader. Nobody needs a leader. Leaders got a price. Leaders will negotiate. You stand on your own 2 feet. You stand your ground. And then things will change. Nobody can negotiate on your part. You're standing your ground. You're fighting your fight. You don't need a leader. You are the leader. You lead by example, and you lead the UK out of this mess in style. One in, all in. We are going to do it. That's it for me now, guys. I want to thank you all for coming. Too much, too young. Amazing support for us. Schoolgate campaign's not here today, but we have to give them a shout out as well. The Scottish Union of Education up in Scotland. I can't think of you all off the top of my head, but we are a coalition. We got 17 parent groups. Coalition Against Indoctrination and Sexualization in Schools. We are going to take this by storm. This will be the safest place in the world for raising and educating children, because we are going to get rid of the institutional abuse. And when that happens, things will change. Thank you all so much for coming, and I hope to see you all soon.
Kim, as always, excellent speech. Once Kim gets started, that's it then. She's excellent. We all love our Kim. Well done. What's that?